Okay, the other night we were learning the dinim of Tisha B'Av. So we were explaining the 5 things which are actually forbidden on Tisha B'Av. Eating and drinking, you're not allowed to wear shoes, you're not allowed to smear yourself with oils, perfumes, deodorants for that matter, unless it's just to remove a foul smell. You're not allowed to sit on a regular chair until midday. We'll discuss that in a second. And also marital relations are forbidden for the duration of Tisha B'Av. Okay, so those things are forbidden. So we learned when you wake up in the morning or after the bathroom, you wash your hands until the end of the fingers. When your hands are still damp, you can wipe your eyes a little bit, but you can't wash your face. Eating and drinking, we discussed, it's a very strict fast. The only difference between Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur, in order to break the fast, you have to be deathly ill. And Tisha B'Av, even if you're not deathly ill, if you're just sick, then you're allowed to break your fast. Now, we were discussing the davening. Okay, you come to shoulder, you remove the pareiches. Many places they also remove the shulchan cover and the chazan's cover and the stender over there, wherever it is, people have a minute of removing it. Okay, so we're discussing also that if it's washing that it's not for enjoyment, let's say you have an infection or you need to wash food for children that are eating, you would be allowed to do it. Okay, as far as davening Tisha B'Av in the morning, the night davening we covered it. The Tisha B'Av in the morning is like this, there's no tachnun. So you come to shul, you wear your talis cotton, you don't wear your talis gadol. You do not make a bracha on the talis cotton, you don't make a bracha in the morning. And also you don't even kiss your tzitzis by Baruch Sha'amad and Shema. So you just, no talis, no tefillin. You daven basically a full shachris. You say, the chazan says Anenu in the Shemoneh Esrei in the repetition. After no tachnun, after davening you have Kriyas HaTorah. There's 3 aliyahs, which happens to be in Parshas Eschanun, so you don't have to roll the Torah anywhere. It's where we're reading anyway. After you put back Chotzi Kaddish, you do Hagba and Glila, you put the Sefer Torah back. In fact, you don't make Misha Berachs for the Cholim in the morning either. Some people say you do it at Mincha, but in the morning you don't make Misha Berachs for the sick people. Then, afterwards, what you're ideally supposed to do is sit down and say the book of Kinnis, which is the various tefillas about the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. But after Kinnis, whatever, because most people don't stick around that long, so after Kinnis, you say Ashri Volitzion, you leave out Bani Zeis Perisi Eisim. You say basically Volitzion Go Shev Num Hashem, and then you go Va'ata Kodesh. You only say the first phrase and then you go to Va'ata Kodesh like we say on Saturday night. Then the Chazan says Kaddish Tiskabel, but no Tiskabel. So again, it's like a Kaddish Yosem. And the Chazan does not say Birchas Kayanim in the morning. When he repeats the Shemoneh Esrei, you don't say Birchas Kayanim. After Ashri Volitzion, you say Aleinu. And then, ideally, our minhag is that we sit down privately and we read the whole book of Eicha again, privately. We should say the book of Eicha, and that ideally should go on until like 1 o'clock. But whatever, people have to, ideally it's better not to work on Tisha B'Av. If somebody has to work, they're allowed to work. Now, and you're sitting on a low stool, you have to sit until 1 o'clock. After 1 o'clock, you can sit back on a regular chair. In the afternoon, you come back to shul for mincha, and you put on talis and tefillin. Just before mincha, you put on talis and tefillin. You say the 3 parshias of Shema, because you didn't do it with tefillin and shouts and tefillin in the morning. You say read the 3 parshias of Shema, and then you finish up what you didn't say in the morning. So you say the Yom, En Kalakeinu. Our custom is to say Tilim. And then you say Korbanos for Mincha, then you daven Mincha. Our custom is to daven Mincha in Rashi's tefillin, not Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. Many people have a minhag to daven, but our minhag is to daven Mincha in Rashi's tefillin. But you have to make sure to finish Mincha early enough before Shkia, because those that put on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin have to put on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin before Shkia. you have to make sure you finish mincha in enough time that people could put on their Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. By the way, after 1 o'clock, you put the pareiches back up on the Aron Kodesh. That's basically it. Now, as far as after Tisha B'Av, now normally, because the Beis HaMikdash was lit Tisha B'Av in the afternoon, and it burnt through the 10th of and the Gemara says the reason why we don't fast 2 days is because we don't have the strength to fast 2 days. But nevertheless, the dinim of the 9 days apply until the day after Tisha B'Av at 1 o'clock. In other words, normally, under a normal year, no haircuts, no laundry, no meat, no wine, no music, right? All that stuff, all the dinner of the 9 days apply until the 10th of Av, with this year, let's say, would be Friday, 1 o'clock. But because it's out of Shabbos, the din is, according to all opinions, you could do laundry, haircuts right away in the morning. Poskim right, if you don't have enough time, then you could do it start already Thursday night. So Thursday night, if you have to, you could take haircuts and laundry. Ideally, it's better to wait until the morning.
Music?
What's that? Music, meat, wine, that's until 1 o'clock.
Shoes?
Swimming, no, shoes right after Tisha B'Av. In fact, right after Tisha B'Av, we do Kiddush Levana. It says ideally you're supposed to rinse your mouth, wash Negev and change into leather shoes before you do Kiddush Levana. But poskim right, it's not practical things, so people just go out right after marriage to do Kiddush Levana. But so meat and wine, you can't until Friday 1 o'clock. Music, all those things you can't do until 1 o'clock. Cutting nails you could do again, preferably in the morning. If need be, you could do it at night too. There's an argument, like in Kitzer, it says you can only do it in the morning, other poskim say you do it at night. So poskim right, if you can wait until the morning, it's better. But there's a lot of people that are leaving town on Friday, or the kids just came back from camp with 3 suitcases of dirty clothes, and if you have 5 kids, that's 15 suitcases of dirty clothes that you couldn't wash during the 9 days. So then they can, They can do it a little bit earlier. Another din of Tisha B'Av is you're not supposed to say Shalom Aleichem to somebody on Tisha B'Av. You're not allowed to greet somebody. It's like actually a middle of Shiva. So it says you're not allowed to. You can nod your head. You don't have to turn away when you see somebody, but you can nod. You're not supposed to give them Shalom Aleichem. Even you're not supposed to say good morning. But what happens if somebody doesn't know and they tell you good morning, so then out of courtesy you can answer back, like nod a little bit and just what?
What was like, what's up? Hey, what's up? Not Lashon.
By the Chassidin they usually say a freilich churban. A lively churban. But again, if you're talking to a guy, then you deal like a normal person, yeah. No, because it says, in fact, the Lashon in Shulchan Aruch is Asher Lisha B'Shlem Chaveirei, a Yid, because a guy, it's Darkei Shalom, you could, you can't send presents on Tisha B'Av. Generally speaking, I'll tell you another din that's brought down. It's brought down as a minig more than an actual halacha. But l'mashal, people don't do any housework until 1 o'clock on Tisha B'Av. In other words, they won't make the beds. They don't even make the beds. They don't do any straightening up of the house until 1 o'clock Tisha B'Av afternoon. Until afternoon on Tisha B'Av, I'm saying. Then Tisha B'Av in the afternoon they can make, then they could, make the beds, do household chores and things like that. A person shouldn't be going, walking, not health, I'm saying. Just go to the park or to walk, all those things they're not allowed to do during Tisha B'Av. It's interesting because in the camps, the overnight camps, there's a big problem. What do you do with the kids' Tisha B'Av? So they still do it. I know when we were in camp, both as a camper and as a counselor. So they always make, and don't see, it's not so simple in halacha. The poskim write, the contemporary poskim write, what else you can do with the kids so you can do it. They usually have a camper counselor baseball game. And it's usually like 90 degrees in the camp on Tisha B'Av, and the game is in the afternoon, and the kids are playing, and the kids somehow manage to be lively, and the counselors are half dead, and they play. And you know what? And we didn't drink, and we survived, and we played the baseball game. Sometimes we lost, sometimes we won. But all those types of things, you shouldn't do anything on Tisha B'Av. I mean, whatever. And the morning b'chlal, you should, even to mashal, to cook. Thursday afternoon, you can cook for Thursday night. I got a bunch of calls today about, can they cook on Thursday for Shabbos already? Thursday afternoon. So if they have to, they can cook for Thursday afternoon. It's already after midday, they can cook for Shabbos. If they can avoid it, it's better not to. But sometimes people, work or whatever, so then they could do it. Once they're cooking ready, they can cook for Shabbos to on Tisha B'Av. Afternoon. Huh? You can't taste the food, no. And people, b'chlal is brought on halacha, you should be careful, try not to touch food on Tisha B'Av because you may come to forget and eat it. But again, if kids have to eat, older, elderly or sick people that have to eat on Tisha B'Av, you're allowed to prepare food even in the morning. I mean, kids have to eat breakfast, so you could prepare food. I mentioned the other day, some people are careful if they want to use water in the preparation for the food, they'll wear gloves. Then at least they're not washing their hands. But if they don't have gloves, they can get their hands wet and do what they need to do. The fast? There's no age restriction. At 120, if they come with their parents, they can be freed from fasting. Then they can be freed from fast. Again, it's a health issue. It's not age. There are people 90 years old, over 90, that fast Tisha B'Av. If they're able to, they have to fast.
If someone gets like that ill that they eat vomit, should they be fasting?
If a person has to eat on Tisha B'Av, it's very interesting because according to the Tzemach Tzedek, even on Tisha B'Av, if you're breaking the fast, just like Yom Kippur, you have pachas mikashir, you eat smaller amounts, which basically for Yom Kippur, we make 1 ounce of food together with 1 ounce of liquid every 9 minutes. So by Tisha B'Av, you're more makel, so it could be 1 ounce of food, 1 ounce of liquid every 7 minutes. Tzemach Tzedek holds that even by Tisha B'Av, if you have to eat, you eat pachas mikashir. Everybody today disagrees with Tzemach Tzedek. I was told even Lubavitch Rabbonim say that if you're eating already, just go eat. I don't understand why. If a person is able to break the fast by eating a little bit, why do you have to dafka eat a lot? Tzemach Tzedek holds, we call it the Tzemach Tzedek, that you should do shiurim on Tisha B'Av also. But there's a lot of, even since the time I was growing up, which is a while ago, the world became much weaker. Even in Eretz Yisrael, the Shari Tzedek hospital, and the hospitals in Eretz Yisrael, told the big Rabbonim in Eretz Yisrael that they noticed after Tisha B'Av a lot of premature babies were born. Years ago that didn't happen. But now they noticed, I'm talking about Shari Tzedek, it's from hospital. They were noticing, they were telling the Rabbonim, the big poskim in Eretz Yisrael, that there's a lot of people having preemies. So they became much more makel even with pregnant women. But again, you can't just, because you're pregnant, eat. I mean, you have to fast.
But if someone vomits, they don't eat.
If they're vomiting, that's called sick and they can eat. Again, a lady called, a lot of calls for it, but the one lady called me and said, I'm nauseous, I'm pregnant. So they say, okay, can you eat a cracker? Cracker is less than a shear. Little crack, So yeah, that should be good enough. So I said, okay, if you're nauseous, eat that and see if it helps. If it doesn't help, if pachas mikashir doesn't help, then you can eat more.
I mean, separate drinking and eating.
No, drinking together, you can do it separately, but halachically, food and drink are not mitzdaref. They don't combine. So you can have 1 ounce of food, 1 ounce of liquid, together if you want,
Within that amount.
and then wait 7 minutes and do it as often as somebody needs. But that, again, it's not stam they have to go eat.
Ask her up.
If somebody is sick and they want to eat, that's the way to do it. If that doesn't work, they can eat regularly. There's a lot of people on cancer treatment or thyroid treatment or heart medications, There's a lot of issues with that. And then you also have people that have to take medications. So if they could take it without water, some pills you could just swallow without water and you don't need to take it with food. That's what they should do. If they need it with food, they should ask a shaila because they'll usually,